Kidnapping and banditry. Two main problems threatening the peace of Zamfara state and indeed all the states within the region. And we aren't just saying this because of what we see in the news. No, the state governor himself has recently cried for help, stating categorically that there is more to it than meets the eye when it comes to these issues in the state. And he says with political will, all these vices can be stopped in 2 weeks, but for the powers that are standing in the way. So today we ask, who or what is the problem with Zamfara state? Who is negotiating with bandits behind his back? And who are these powers that be? Is politics being played with human lives in Zamfara? What are the historical issues in the state? And is the governor refusing to cooperate with the Ministry of Defense? Hello and welcome to Political Paradigm on Channels Television. I'm Kayla Magwa. No one is more qualified to answer these questions than my guest today on the program. He is Mr. Ibrahim Dosara, the former Commissioner for Information in Zamfara State. Mr. Dosara was special advisor to the former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari, first on public enlightenment and later on media. He was with the British Broadcasting Corporation before he joined politics. After leaving the office of special advisor, he established a television station which he managed as chairman and chief executive until he was appointed by Governor Bello Muhammad Matawalle to serve as a commissioner in his cabinet. And to this day, he serves as a private media aide to Bello Matawalle, who is now Minister of State for Defense. Mr. Dosara, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you very much, Kayla.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. And our viewers, I say, well done.
You know, we had some good news out of Zamfara State recently. We just heard that some of the core members that were kidnapped, because there were some core members who were kidnapped recently. I think there's just one left, according to the news that we're seeing. So some good news coming out from Zamfara State. Let's talk about that, really, when it comes to kidnapping and banditry. What happened? You're from Zamfara. You've been there, or you've worked in government all these years. What happened? How did it get this bad?
Well, you see, the issue of banditry as a whole in Zamfara State can be backdated to 12 years ago. And subsequent governments have been making their own efforts to ensure that it has stopped. But unfortunately, it continued to becoming worse and worse by day. Now, there are so many factors to this. One of them is the economic factor, where there are a lot of people who are feeding out of the crisis. Some supply weapons to the bandits, some supply foodstuff to the bandits, some supply fuel to the bandits, some even supply bread and minerals in the bush. So all these people, being conflict entrepreneurs, will always try to make sure that they do one thing or the other to make sure that the governments, the security agencies do not succeed in tackling the insecurity because of what they are benefiting out of it. There is also another group which falls within the economic factor, and this group is what we call informants network. We have large chunk of informants among the people within the community. They always try to liaise between the communities and the bandits. They take information of the communities to the bandits, who sell what, who possesses what, who has what, and then they liaise with the bandits with a view to getting something out of it when people are kidnapped for ransom. And not only that, there are other groups within the economic factor, which comprises miners. There is a mining group that are mining in Zamfara State because Zamfara State is rich in mineral resources. And these miners will always want to see Zamfara in chaos so that the attention of government and whoever it concerns is not focused on them, but focused on how to tackle insecurity in the state. Now, that is aside the economic factor. We have also the political factor. The political factor is that Zamfara State is made a society where we have conflicting political interests, both within the two major political parties, the APC and the PDP. Some of the people are not in agreement with the others because of their particular personal interests. And as such, they keep on fighting themselves. Whoever is in power, they will try as much as possible to make sure that that person is not allowed to succeed in the fight against insecurity. And basically, these are some of the factors that are responsible for the continued insecurity or security challenges in Zamfara State. As we go on, we will continue to expose more things so that people will understand the magnitude and the direction of insecurity or security challenges in Zamfara State. Kayla.
Let's go back to, because when I first met you,
Yeah.
you used to work for Governor Abdulaziz Yari.
That's correct.
At the time, there was insecurity in Zamfara.
That's correct.
I remember that we couldn't travel
That's
early
correct.
in the morning. They wouldn't let us out. And then once it's 6 p.m., they would lock us up
That's
in the
correct.
hotel because they wouldn't let us outside. And they would say it's because banditry was going on
That's
at the
correct.
time.
That's correct.
So if at least you've been there from when Abdulaziz Yari was in office. So let's start from his time. How did he handle this situation when he was governor?
There was nothing Abdulaziz Yari has not done to ensure that he tackled insecurity in Zamfara State. In fact, he was chairman of Nigeria's Governors Forum, and he used that position as much as possible to reach out to Mr. President, to reach out to the high military command to make sure that troops are sent to Zamfara State to deal with the insecurity there. And he set structures that are on ground.
What kind of structures?
For instance, there is what he said we call situation room, situation control room, where they get intelligence from various communities to come and give information on where the bandits are, how they plan to attack a community. And the situation control room gives this information to the security operatives, and they act on that information. And he was succeeding, but because of the factors I told you earlier, he had so many challenges. He had so many problems. If you could recall, there was one time when he was frustrated so much that he said he has resigned from the position of chief security officer in the state because his commands were not being taken. So
Very similar to what Governor Lawal is saying right now.
that is it. And that is why I want to talk of Dauda Lawal focusing on a particular aspect.
Well, we'll get to him.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to him shortly.
Yeah, we get
So
that.
you said the situation room was one of the things that Mr. Yari created at the time. What other, in what ways did he help the situation? Because at some point it felt like things got a little better.
Yeah.
But of course, a lot of things happened politically.
That is what I told
in
you.
Zamfara. And of course, that saw the end of the ruling of the APC there at the time.
That is what I told
Every
you.
single seat of the APC was lost. I remember this.
Yeah.
And then the PDP came into power, which is how Bello Matawalle became
The
governor.
governor.
But you seem to have been in the favor of everybody. After he worked for Mr. Yari, you also worked for Mr. Matawalle at the time when he became governor. He also had to face insecurity when he came in. In fact, insecurity was so rife that they created PAGMI, the Presidential Artisanal Gold Miners Initiative. Talk to us a bit about PAGMI and how Matawalle, when he was governor, how did he handle the situation?
Well, you see, Matawalle's case was when he came on board, he looked at the situation. He reviewed the situation. He had a plan of where he was going, and he had a plan of the present situation, and he had the review of the past situation he met. And this gave him the impetus and the encouragement to summon a meeting of stakeholders comprising the traditional rulers, the Fulani leaders, in fact, even the bandit leaders. They were all summoned. They came to the government house and discussions were held, heart-to-heart discussions with understanding, and all the bandits under the command of their leadership surrendered, and they gave full support and cooperation to Matawalle. And that was what led Matawalle to succeed. Within 100 days of his office, there was no single attack or single banditry incident in Zamfara State for over 9 months. But because of what I told you earlier, the two factors, economic factor and the political factor, Matawalle was sabotaged so much that he had to now, in his urge to unite the political gladiators, decamped from his own political party, PDP, to APC, so that he gets the attention and the cooperation of everybody, every politician. If you could recall, he had to follow all the bigwigs in their houses, pleading for them to come and sit down and let's look at Zamfara as a whole, not our individual political interests. And that was what led to the reconciliation, which was led by the former national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Adamu, and that was a success. And Matawalle was dealing with the situation until when the other economic factor came in to start sabotaging his efforts. If you could recall, Matawalle, because of how painful it was for him that people of Zamfara State were being killed in their numbers, he had to set up his own approach to a state of emergency, where he shut down the state completely for 3 months. So that time, the bandits were seriously punished, so much that many of them had to leave the state, and some of them had to come begging for him to accept to pardon them so that they join. And at that time, he set up a committee which was responsible for, if you say, I am surrendering, okay, bring your weapons, you sign, and you are given a copy of the Quran to swear, so that you don't at the end turn back and come back to do it.
How many repentant bandits did he get?
Many of them. In fact, that time we had over 1,000 repentant bandits.
Where are they now?
Many of them are there. Some of them have been given a kind of business they do. Some of them are settled by the government then. But
yeah, that was then. I'm saying now. Those repentant bandits, after the reintegration, what happened to them? They're still in the community. Do you know if any of them have gone back into banditry?
Many of them are in the community, but I cannot say precisely because I am not presently in government. So I cannot give account of what is happening.
At the time when you and Mr. Matawalle left office, what was the plan? At what point in the reintegration plan of these bandits were you at?
Well, what Matawalle wanted was to set up villages for the repentant bandits.
Ruga.
That was what we call Ruga. And three areas were earmarked in each of the senatorial districts. Water, market, schools, everything were provided. I mean, were intended to be provided. In fact, if you can go to Maradun, his hometown, you will see one of the villages that was set up, almost completed, before the government is taken over. So there are so many plans which were made by Matawalle to ensure that these things are tackled. His interest wasn't political or vendetta.
So what happened when Governor Lawal came in? Why didn't he continue?
Well, that's what I don't know. Every person has his own principles and policies.
So let's talk about how he is handling it. What are your thoughts? Because you're not in government with him right now.
Yes.
You're still with Mr. Matawalle.
Yes, I'm still with Matawalle.
So let's talk about Governor Dauda. He's your state governor.
Yeah.
How do you think he is handling this security situation in Zamfara?
Well, if I were Dauda Lawal, the first thing I will do when I took over the government is to invite all the former governors and tell them, yes, you are all my brothers, and we are all here for Zamfara State. Security is the most paramount problem our people are facing. How do we tackle it head on? I know you all left the government, but you are still in government.
What's he doing wrongly?
Sorry?
What's he doing wrongly?
What he did wrongly was trying to chase the former governors, his predecessors. For instance, you are aware when he took over, within the same week, he broke into Matawalle's house and carted away all belongings in that house. Why? He followed Matawalle's cabinet members, seizing their vehicles and other belongings.
He seized your vehicle?
Of course. He seized mine. I was the first person whose vehicle was seized. It was the only vehicle that I was given as member of the cabinet. And I personally told him, the governor, but he refused. He went out. A detachment of police with weapons was sent to my own personal residence where I live with my family. And on the day when my son was wedding, my relations from the village came and they were psychologically disturbed because they saw police in my house with guns.
Did they give a reason?
After I spent 8 years serving the state.
Did they give a reason
in
why?
The cabinet.
What did he say was the reason why?
He said his reason was that those cars were stolen. What he didn't understand is that government is a system with processes, and not only processes, but due processes. Even if he is accusing Matawalle of stealing, there are ways, legal ways, that he should have followed to deal with Matawalle. Matawalle, come. I don't understand this area. Please, can you explain?
I'll get back to the relationship between him and Mr. Matawalle in a bit.
Okay.
But let's talk a bit about some of the things that he has alleged recently.
Okay.
He said that there are people who are negotiating with the bandits in his state behind his back. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I heard him in the interview.
Do you agree with him? Is there any truth to it?
I don't agree with him completely because his commissioner, one of his cabinet members, was in a video clip showing those people doing the negotiation along with the commissioner. Now, if he says he is not aware, why his commissioner among those doing the negotiation?
Where did you get the video clip from?
I got it on the social media.
So you just saw it on social media?
I saw it on the social media.
Have you ever been any part of any of those negotiations with bandits?
I never.
Okay, we'll get to that shortly. And he's also saying that the military acting on powers from above, he didn't tell us who these powers are or what above means. He says they're refusing to take action against the bandits in ways that he believes will put an end to this insecurity in his state. What do you make of that allegation?
Well, you see, when he said the military are not taking orders from him, the other time in this station we had such argument with you people. I said, my experience in government gave me the knowledge that when the military and the governor are working to deal with a particular situation, especially that has to do with the security, there is always agreement and understanding. But where a situation, where there is a situation, the relationship is sour. You don't expect the military or any other security operatives to work in tandem. When I am posted as security man in your state, I expect you to listen to me, guide me. When I come with my problems, you look at them, do what you can. What you cannot do, go to the higher command and ensure that the problem is solved. But Dawda Lawal is not doing so. And it is because of that, maybe he is having the problem with the security. Now,
he said that the security, they tell him that there is no-go area.
How can they say there is no-go area?
The bandits know to run behind those no-go areas. And he has said this so many times.
How can that true?
Would that be fair? Even if he's having problems with past governors or is not handling things the way you would want him to, is it up to where we would now have people's lives being lost because of a political issue?
No, you see, what we are talking about here is when you say you are told no-go area, I don't believe that. Because if there is no-go area, the number of security personnel, including soldiers and police that are being killed in Zamfara State in defense of the people of Zamfara State wouldn't have been that high. So the issue of saying they are being given command not to go at this area, no. Except maybe there is issue of terrain. Zamfara State is a state whose landmass is full of hills and valleys. Now, you cannot, because of taking command, you go and rescue your life. Now, I don't know, in our journalism, they said there is no story that is worth your life. It is the same thing in the military. So, if there is terrain issue, obviously we expect the high command to tell the military, be careful not to go there.
You said
remember the issue of Delta, and remember the issue of Abia State, where military lives were lost. So they have to be careful. In the process of defending somebody, you have to make sure your life is also safe.
You had mentioned earlier that he was supposed to meet with past governors.
Of course.
And let's work together and see if there's some kind of continuity of the things that you're doing. How can we make it better? How do we solve this problem as one family, so to speak, even though they're from different political parties. And I don't know how you expect that to work. But he said that he met with the service chiefs. Has he met with the Minister of Defense, with Mr. Matawalle?
He has never...
Minister of State for Defense. Has he met with him?
He has never met with not only Matawalle, even Badaru.
Even the Minister of... Even the Minister himself?
The Minister. himself.
So he hasn't met with the minister, he hasn't met with the Minister of State.
So how did he expect them?
Why do you think this is?
It is because of the political interest.
This issue that he has with Mr. Matawalle, you know, it's one that has to be put aside. And I think everyone agrees that this impasse has to be put aside so we can focus on people's lives. Okay, Muhammad refused to go to the mountain. Why wouldn't the mountain go to Muhammad?
No, you cannot go. Can I come to your house without your invitation?
Did you try to come? Did you tell me you were coming and I said no?
If I come to your house without telling you and without knocking at your door, would you accept me? You won't.
Did the Minister of State try to contact him?
He did. This is what I told you. Even Mr. President has sent the minister and the Minister of State to go to Zamfara when the federal university students were abducted. Mr. President gave instant order to the ministers to go and meet with Lawal.
What happened?
They sent to him that they were coming. He said he was not in the country, he was in America, and they should please allow him come back. When he comes back, he will invite them. But up till this time we are talking to you, Kela, that governor has never spoken to either of the ministers. So how can a problem that has to do with a particular institution be solved without involving that institution? It's not possible. So just like we have pointed out, Lawal had good intention to deal with security challenges in Zamfara, but he has not followed the steps that he will be successful in fighting the insecurity, because we are talking about humanity, not your personal political interests, not the political interests of Matawalle or the political interests of Yari or whatever. No, we are after the lives and property of the people of Zamfara state.
He said.
So we have to put aside whatever grudges we have.
He said that we cannot feel the weight of Mr. Matawalle in this state as a man who used to be governor of Zamfara and now has become Minister of State for Defense. You would think that he would deploy everything that he can, with or without the governor's say so. This is my state. We are both members of this state. Just as minister, I will do more than necessary. In fact, I should be accused as Minister of State of giving preferential treatment to my state. Hold on now,
okay,
Mr. Dosara.
Go ahead.
People should even be accusing Mr. Matawalle of giving preferential treatment to his state because he faced it and knows what the situation is. Governor Lawal says Mr. Matawalle is not pulling his weight. In fact, said that his hometown in Maradun was attacked recently and nothing was done. What do you make of this? You're friends with the Minister of State.
Excellent. I will want to ask you, do you believe that the Zamfara has never felt impact of Matawalle as Minister of State?
I wouldn't know. I don't live in Zamfara. I can just tell you what the governor has said.
Let me tell you, before Matawalle became the Minister of State Defense, people were being abducted along Zaria, Kaduna, Funtua, Sokoto Road. You are aware of that. It was all over the media. But when Matawalle came as the Minister of State, he deployed troops alongside with Badaru. They deployed troops. Up till today, there has never an incident where people are abducted along the road, people flying the road, except in their communities. How can he say Matawalle has never done anything in this regard? And not only
because I'm listening to you. You're mentioning Funtua.
Yeah.
You're mentioning Abuja, Kaduna. We're talking about Zamfara.
That's why I told you. That's why I told you this road from Kaduna up to Sokoto. Before, it was a terrible route. Motorists flying the road were being abducted in their numbers. But when Matawalle and Badaru took over, they deployed troops along those areas. And up till this time I'm talking to you, there has never been a single incident where such happening took place along the route.
The kidnapping of those core members happened along that route.
It was not directly along the road.
Where was this abduction done?
It was within a community, not along the road. This I can assure you. So you can see, for somebody to sit down and say somebody has not done anything, I think is belittling himself.
I think you're purposely trying to misconstrue what the governor said.
No,
Mr. Dosara.
No,
because he didn't say that Sokoto.
Wait. Let me tell you.
He didn't say Abuja Sokoto Road is in trouble.
Let me tell you.
He said Zamfara, Gusau, Maradu, the hometown.
And that is what I'm telling you. For the governor even to mention that his hometown, the hometown of the minister is attacked. Why? That is what you have to question. Why is he giving reference? Is Maradun only the place that has been attacked?
No, but if the minister is from there.
Did he say how many?
If the minister is from there, then he should say, even if the minister's hometown.
Did he say how many
attacked.
APC fighting equipment were deployed after that attack? And did Dauda, the governor of Zamfara State, did he visit Maradun to console with the people there? He didn't. Simply because it belongs to the minister. I told you, Kela, there is personal interest, personal grudges between the two. And for us to tackle insecurity, this issue should be put aside. The personal grudges should be put aside. Matawalle went through the Council of Ulama so that they will sit down together and fight against this security challenge. But Dauda refused. There are so many ways. Even Mr. President has tried as much as possible to make sure that the two cooperate so that Zamfara became safe. But unfortunately, because of these personal grudges, it couldn't happen. So, like I said earlier, there are so many things that Matawalle has been doing to help Dauda. It will be of Matawalle's pride to say that when he is Minister of Defense, there is sanity in his home state. And how could he achieve that without the support and cooperation of the person in charge of the state? Dauda is the chief executive officer in that state. Matawalle cannot go to Zamfara state and do anything without the consent of Dauda.
You mentioned during the time when Matawalle was governor that he even had to change party.
Of course.
Should Lawal change party?
I'm not asking him to change party, but I'm asking him to change his feelings of the personal grudge against Matawalle. Let the two of them come together.
What if if it involves changing? Because at some point Matawalle had to change from the PDP to the APC.
Yeah, of course.
If it involves Governor Dauda Lawal changing party, should he do it?
Of course, whatever Dauda Lawal should do to bring sanity, to bring peace, to bring protection of lives and property of the people of Zamfara State, he should do that. He promised the people that he will solve the security problem in Zamfara State after taking power in 2 weeks' time. And he repeated in this station that if there is political will, he will finish the security problem in Zamfara State will be finished in 2 weeks. How can that be a situation that has been on for 12 years? You said there is no political will. If there is political will, it can be finished in 2 weeks. And what is he talking about political will? On whose part? political will. He is the governor.
He said security.
He is giving
He said
subvention.
the security. I asked him. He said the security.
Look, security.
And I said security doesn't have political will.
Can you
security
take
just
a
does their job. But if they are being controlled by political gladiators,
can you take a reference to Borno State, where the governor is up and cooperating with the security, and the security is the security challenges are being tackled? So it's the same thing. There is no how anybody can do anything when somebody in charge is not giving cooperation.
Do you believe?
If you don't give me the opportunity, I wouldn't have been here discussing this issue.
Let's talk a little bit about bandits in Zamfara.
Okay.
There was a time, you mentioned it earlier, Repentant bandit. Yeah. I want to be able to ask you, do you believe that bandits should be negotiated with?
Well, it all depends.
On what?
It all depends on the sincerity of purpose.
On whose part?
On both parts.
Okay. Explain this to us.
One, if the governor, he means well for the people of the state, and he wants the security challenges to be tackled here and then he should come up with a plan that will make the bandits know that the governor is serious, and when the negotiation is done and agreement sealed. And on the part of the bandits, if they are serious and honest, yes, they should come holistically. Okay, I have now decided to surrender. Everything of mine that is, or rather I'm using to harm anybody, here are they.
You say it so well, like you've done this before. Was there ever a time during Yari or Matawalle's time that the security situation got to where the government had to negotiate with bandits?
I told you when Matawalle came, he summoned a meeting of stakeholders who advised that let the bandits kingpin be invited and see how they can talk and handle the situation. And that was the time when the bandits were invited and the kingpins decided to surrender, and they gave out their weapons. So, and that was how Matawalle succeeded within 100 days, like I said earlier.
They gave up their weapons
to government
in exchange for what?
Exchange of nothing. And that was why we say sincerity of purpose.
Mr. Dosara,
that's what, of course.
Were they compensated?
That is why I told you the program of Ruga came on.
Okay, so the compensation was to give them...
It's to give them their livelihood.
A livelihood.
That's right. So a village was constructed for them, provided all the facilities. Cows, grazing field was provided, everything. So that they know they live in a life as they are living in their forests. So that's what I'm talking about.
Is this an option that you think? Is this an option that you think Governor Lawal should explore?
Well, it all depends on Lawal's perception and conception about.
Oh, he has told us his perception. He said, "I am not negotiating with any bandits."
And he should
because
do something.
According to him, where will we stop the negotiation? One day somebody doesn't have money anymore. He starts to make trouble so that I can pay him.
Well, it all depends on the sincerity of purpose, like I told you earlier. When you have a plan that will make the bandit know that, yes, my life is no longer in danger, then you can get him accept the negotiation and do what you want. But where there is no sincerity of purpose, then that is the problem. And I'm not saying Dawda Lawal should accept negotiation or should go to negotiation table with bandits. That's not what I'm saying. The fundamental problem, like I told you, is the grudge he has with the Ministry of Defense. He should get rid of that difference. Let them come together. Look at what they're supposed to do so that they help the people of Zamfara State, the poor people. We need education. We need to go to farm. We need to provide food for our people. But today, because of the worsening security situation, people are not going to their farms.
Is it wrong, in your view, for somebody to be negotiating with bandits while there is a governor? Negotiating without the governor's consent, in your view?
That is wrong.
Is it right or wrong?
That is wrong. That is wrong. But like I told you earlier, I don't think there is anybody negotiating behind him. Or let me tell you, even when Matawalle's time, there was a time when there was negotiation without his knowledge.
Who did that negotiation?
I don't know.
But there was a negotiation. What kind of negotiation?
You should understand that we have a particular system of government. We have the federal, we have the state, we have the local government.
The negotiation during Matawalle's time, do you know what tier it came from? Was it from federal or local, since it wasn't from the state?
To be honest with you, it was done from the federal.
And you can't tell us what office from the federal?
I don't know, honestly. But I was sitting in the situation control room, which was set up by Matawalle to tackle insecurity. And we got the information that certain negotiations are being done by some people. And the governor was not aware of that negotiation. So sometimes you have to ask.
How did he handle it?
Sometimes you have to ask. What he did was to inquire from where and how it was taking place. And he was made to understand why. So you cannot question the authority of a particular person within his own jurisdiction. It's not only the governors that are entitled of handling security issues. Certain people also have the right to come and deal with security challenges.
I know it feels like I'm not letting this bone go, but I want to know how he handled it. So he found out why the negotiation was going on behind his back. Then what?
Then he cooperated with those structures that were doing it.
He cooperated with
He cooperated with those doing it, and there wasn't any problem about it, because they had reasons for that.
You think Lawal should do the same right now?
Of course. He should find out who are those doing it. He should find out why are they doing it. Then he should see whether he should cooperate with them or not, or to report them to appropriate authority.
I mean, I'm going to ask you what the Minister of State for Defense should be doing, because you're in a position to talk with him about that. No, sure. But for the governor, who you do not work with right now and who seized your cars, and I'm sure you and him are not exactly on good terms right now.
No.
Have you spoken to him since he seized your cars?
Of course. Okay. We have been talking to each other. He knows.
What should he be?
I don't have any personal grudge against anybody. And that was why you see me worked with Yari and then come and work with Matawalle. I am after Zamfara State interests, not my personal interests. Whether Dauda sees my car or he doesn't seize my car, it doesn't stop me from telling him.
Are you still with the APC?
I'm still with APC.
So far, you're the last man standing, because you were with the APC under Yari.
Yes.
When the APC lost all its seats and the PDP came in, you joined.
Invited me, And I joined.
You joined the PDP.
That is to show.
No, you didn't join the PDP. You joined Matawalle's cabinet.
I joined the PDP.
You joined PDP?
By joining Matawalle,
yes,
definitely I have to join his party.
Did you join the party?
I joined the party.
Then all of you now decamped again
back
to the APC.
That's right.
And then now you're with Matawalle, who's Minister of State,
yes.
and you're in the APC.
Of course.
But Dawda Lawal is in the PDP. Some people might say you are the problem.
No, I'm not the problem. My changing position does not create any difference. Because like I told you, I am fighting for Zamfara State. My interest is Zamfara State, not Matawalle or Dawda or Yari, but Zamfara State. So what should I contribute for Zamfara State to develop?
What should Governor Dawda Lawal be doing right now, in your view, to change things over? He says if there's political will, he can fix the state and end this security business in 2 weeks. But what should he be doing? What should he be doing right now?
But on whose part is that political will? He is the governor. He gets subvention.
He said
the subvention
we've talked about this before now.
The subvention he gets.
He said it's security.
Far better than what Matawalle used to get. Matawalle was getting 3 to 4 billion naira monthly. Dawda Lawal is now getting over 20 billion naira a month.
That's from FAC allocations?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so what should he be doing differently now?
What he should be doing differently, one is let him know that he is there under oath. That when he took over as the governor of Zamfara State, there is no difference. He will consider everybody the same, irrespective of political alienation. Number two, he should set aside all his personal grudge against anybody. Number two, he should liaise with whoever matters in dealing with Zamfara insecurity. And number four is to make sure that he mobilizes resources and put all the necessary structures that can deal decisively with security challenges of Zamfara State. If he does this, then he is fine. And lastly, he should make himself available in the state all the time. When there is an attack, he should be ready to go to the community, sympathize with them.
Is Zamfara still a no-fly zone?
No, it's not so as such.
But you don't have an airport still?
We don't have.
What's the plan? Do you know?
Well, Matawalle wanted to do one. And Dawda Lawal is now trying to continue from where he is.
Has money been appropriated for this?
Of course.
How much?
I can't say.
You can say. When was it appropriated?
I was Commissioner of Information.
When you were Commissioner of Information, you should know.
Of course, not Commissioner of Budget and Economic Planning.
But you're the one to give us the information.
No, not now.
But money was appropriated for that.
Of course.
Under whose administration? Yari or Matawalle?
You see, that airport was started by Mahmouda.
Okay.
And Yari came and took over. And from Matawalle continued from where Yari stopped. We expect Dawda to continue from where Matawalle stopped. And this is very fact.
So that's just where it is right now?
Yeah, that's where
Is the money still intact? Do you know?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know if the money is still intact or
I don't know. I'm not in government now. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about your principal, Mr. Matawalle.
Yes, sir.
What should he be doing differently?
Well,
because, you know, you really can't just say, oh, he has to be invited, he can't do much. No.
No.
You just said now that negotiations with bandits even happen at federal level sometimes without the state governor knowing. Which means that interference is allowed when it comes to security.
Not only in Nigeria.
Yes.
Wherever there is war, there is room for negotiation. You understand? Anywhere in the world where we have war, very serious war, and it reached the level of so much killings, and there is room for negotiation. So Zamfara or Nigeria cannot be different.
Okay. So what
sometimes
should the Minister
when
of
it becomes
State
necessary.
What should the Minister of State for Defense be doing right now?
What
as a former governor of this state that is going through so much, everyone is talking about your state. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It is indeed. I agree with you.
Especially for him as Minister of State.
I agree.
Who used to be governor of the place.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's embarrassing.
What should he be doing differently now?
What he should be doing different, based on my own personal opinion, is to invite the state stakeholders. Let them sit together in his office or at his house. Tell them the problem. And tell them the problem he has with Dauda. Let the traditional rulers and council of ulama meet Dauda. Tell him their real mind and the mind of Matawalle, so that they will join the two together, Matawalle and Dauda, to sit down, understand themselves in the presence of the stakeholders, including the traditional rulers and the Council of Ulama. I think if Matawalle should do this, definitely there would be a way out so that we move on. Not more than 12 years ago, we had this problem. But Zamfara was a peaceful state, very industrious, a lot of industries, a lot of farms, a lot of businesses taking place, local, national, and international. But today, because of this problem I said, the political factor, where politicians, the political gladiators, are all having their own particular interests above the interests of the community or the society or the state, then we continue to have the problem we are facing today.
So before we wrap this up, what should the people of Zamfara say? Because with all of this going on, I can imagine that governance is not going on, or at least governance will be very stifled. I remember when the governor was here on channel, I asked him, I said, I'm afraid to ask him about minimum wage while we're busy discussing this level of insecurity.
That's right.
Are children going to school? Are markets being run? Is agriculture going on? What is happening? Can buying and selling happen? Well, mining activities have been banned, yeah, but I think they're still going on in pockets of the place. In fact, this PAGMI that was created by President Muhammadu Buhari at the time when he was in office, I don't even know if that is still working at all. Because at the time they said, oh, look, the banditry is because of illegal mining in the place. So let's get illegal miners together. Come and join this initiative. We'll make you legal. Then whatever you mine, you sell to the federal government. I heard recently that doesn't even exist anymore. Yeah. What should the people of Zamfara State be holding on to right now as all of these elephants are fighting?
Well, honestly, Zamfara State is a society that has less privilege in terms of education. So our people need to be educated properly to understand their rights and their privileges, and to understand where their rights stop, the right of others begin. This is basic. Number two, they should be made to understand the kind of politicians they should vote into power. Those people who have Zamfara at their heart. Those people who do not use their personal interests at the detriment of the larger society. So this is what Zamfara people ought to hold on. But in terms of economy, I can tell you honestly, they are helpless because there is nothing they could. Even today is Friday. On Thursday, a farmer was inside his farm in Jangebe. Bandit went and shot him all over. He died this morning at the Federal Medical Center. So that has inflicted fear into many farmers today, that nobody wants to go to his farm because he's afraid of the unknown. So they are helpless in this regard. And I want to use this opportunity to call to Mr. President to intervene into the situation. Let Mr. President invite these political gladiators, including the governor himself, and let them know that Zamfara people have right to exist. Zamfara people have the privilege to enjoy democracy.
But we do have to wrap it up there. It's a good place to anchor it. I want to thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim Dosara, for being with us on the program, and good luck.
Thank you,
with
Kayla.
all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you, Kayla.
We have been speaking with Mr. Ibrahim Dosara, former broadcaster, politician, aide to former governors of Zamfara State, and current aide to the Minister of State for Defense. Please join this conversation on our website, channelstv.com. Leave your comments there, respectfully, of course, and join us as we continue to ask the accountability question until it is answered. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.